everybody, welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, and Disembodied Hands, Quindy, Disembodied Beard John, who's on vacation, and Crowley Hamster, who needs all of your puppy hugs for the corgi. The old corgi. Yeah, I know the old dog issues. It doesn't make it any easier, though. It doesn't make it any easier. So, all the hugs and puppy scritches going out to you, Crowley. Hi, everybody. I see you all talking about snow. My mother's in Wisconsin, and she sent me a picture this morning saying winter has arrived again. That's the view out off her back porch. And David's response was, obviously they came back from Wisconsin too early. Oh, Lordy. Hold on, I have to tell her. My mom is so artistic. She sends me her art projects when she's not sending me pictures of why I moved away from Wisconsin. Oh, a thunderstorm, yeah. We're supposed to have rain tonight, rain all over the weekend. It's monkey paws season again. I thought the monkey paws towels could go away. That's apparently not happening. The monkey paws towels are here to stay. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. I guess we can use the more new bottle. So I'm thinking I'm going to go Rich Indigo with the dress. It's my thought. I actually have an older bottle of Rich Indigo, like an original one, and a newer bottle. And I'm curious because I think that it is a little bit changed. But maybe not. Maybe it's just the bottle that's different. Yeah, the bottle is a little different. Interesting. I wonder if Reaper had to swap to a different bottle manufacturer, because it is a little bit different when I look at it. The shape is slightly different. Interesting. Well, I'll know when I put it in the palette. So I felt really weird last night at my CrossFit because I had to ask a supplement question. It felt like asking about drugs, guys. It's weird because the supplement thing can get a little bit weird when you're reading the weight training stuff, right? Some people are really into it. I am not, but I did pick up one because it seemed to have it's possibly the most researched supplement ever, and it has a lot of really good studies behind it. And it was just, it was supposed to, at the base level, people use it because it's supposed to give you more energy, to get through a workout, essentially. But it also has all sorts of other interesting applications. It's an amino acid, it's creatine. The reason I asked about it is because I've been really weird this week. Really weird. I started taking it, over the weekend, I think, and I almost felt manic. It was I had all this mental energy all of a sudden, I felt almost jittery compared to what I was doing. And when I looked it up, I'm what are the side effects of this thing? And I found some studies, that they'd use this to help people with, post-COVID exhaustion and stuff. And I'm eyebrows, and it's all mental acuity and getting rid of brain fog type stuff. And then I asked last night at CrossFit, and Ellie's oh yeah, and it hits women harder than men. I'm oh great. Will I ever sleep again? Because it was it was weird. It was weird, people. It was really weird. Let's just say that. So I'm still not I'm kind of side-eyeing it now, but I'm still taking it because I like the feeling of energy that I have, mental energy and awakeness. It's like caffeine without the caffeine. But I thought I'd share because it is really weird. I know some of you work out. I don't know if you've ever done it, if you've ever gotten it. With a death flavor. Yeah, it should be black licorice. It totally should be. You're right. Especially because so many people have conflicting opinions of black licorice, right? I love it, but yeah. Yeah. Oh, so you had that too. Yeah, seriously, right? Isn't it weird? Like you're just like I was like, is something up with me? Like, because I changed my diet, but I did that a little bit earlier, right? I should have noticed that, I would think, right? And maybe that's part of it too, because my metabolism is up. My body can use those nutrients better because I changed my diet. But at the same time, I was like, this is just way above beyond that. You love me even though I love black licorice. Okay. But yeah, like the creatine thing was just really, I just, you know what though? What it really highlights is that I had not been up to my normal energy levels for a long time. Like, I never used to have to take power naps. And now some days I'm like terrified to like get through it to try to go to CrossFit without one, right? I didn't have one yesterday. I went to CrossFit. I was fine. So yeah, it's weird. It's an interesting thing with interesting. I guess I can't call them side effects when there's something that medicine actually uses them for. But there's a lot of studies about it. It's very interesting. They're trying to. They've had limited like use results in depends on which study you look at it, but in treating dementia and things like that, just for mental acuity and stuff. So I don't know. It's a weird thing. I wanted to share, though, just in case any of you, I'm glad you had the same experience. Seriously, it validates that I'm not going crazy. Um, it's just odd. It's just very odd. Yeah, that whole body jittery but mental clarity. Almost, right, and that's why I was concerned. Like, it wasn't anxiety. I knew it wasn't that. But it was definitely like that kind of like, like, gotta do this. Just like, it's like it kicked in yesterday afternoon hard, and I just went and like buzzed my to-do list. Like, it was just insane. Oh my god, it was crazy. Yeah, it's just, and it's not an unpleasant jittery, but you gotta use it, right? It's nothing I could just sit with. And I'm like, am I like a border collie now? Do I have to tire myself out so I can sleep? Oh my god. It was just, I honestly thought I was going nuts. I'm very glad that you also have experienced this craziness. It's not, I mean, it's a good thing, right? And they say, there's another study David was looking at that said that it enhanced mental acuity in older people. And I guess I'm getting there, right? But yeah, and it's amino acids, so it's not like it's anything your body, it's not like you're actually drugging yourself. Apparently, it's just giving your brain more of what it wants, which is weird. But usually you get it in the diet, you get it from red meat and shellfish. And if you're not eating a lot of that, which a lot of Americans aren't, you wouldn't be getting a lot of it. Yeah, I mean, my coaches said that it does tend to affect women more than men, but you could give it, I mean, even David, like, when I told him about this yesterday, he actually got on the internet and researched it because he was worried about me. And he's just like, maybe I want to try this. Killer Kobold Sherry. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm really tempted, but I can't eat them, right? That's the problem. David would have to eat them all, and he wouldn't. And we don't have any children, so I can't just hand it off to kids. I could have him take them to work, but I don't know if, his coworkers tend to like bring really good chocolate and turn their nose up at like normal treats, So I think they'd be wasted on that crowd. I'm not willing to do that. Can I get the molds level without getting the gummies? That's my question. Yes, shrimp are shellfish. Shrimp are absolutely. Shrimp are what most people with shellfish allergies actually react to. But yeah, and the really alarming thing is I actually brought my bottle in here. So here, creatine, guys. That's what it's called. Is that the dose I'm taking is actually half the dose that hardcore weightlifter people do. I'm like, I can't imagine being on double this. I really can't. I just shoot into orbit, I think. But anyway, so sharing the weirdness with all of y'all. Dang. So like yesterday, I was like super hyped in the morning for the stream, and I came off the stream. I'm like, wow, that was so much energy. And then in the afternoon, when that second episode of it kicked in, now it's hopefully it's steadying out. Yeah, I don't know, Shadow Raven. I mean, if they use it to, if you feel like you're lower energy, like I said, there's studies that are using it to treat like post COVID, like tiredness and exhaustion, like fatigue, post COVID fatigue. So maybe, I mean, maybe if you have friends who still work out, you can ask them if they do it. Ask them if you could borrow like like a week's supply of pills and see if it does anything to you. Although they're not expensive. Like this big bottle was like I think $15. Oh, good, good, good. Yay. Oh, wedding ring is loosening. Woo! Kodiak. Time to wrap some string around it. Gummy Crust Gummies Creator Kit includes molds to make 25 unique gummies along with gummy mix, all the essentials. Adding your own ingredients. Oh no, it's for alcohol gummies. Interesting. So we give me a lot of gummy stuff that I don't need, but maybe I could find something similar. I bet there's a chocolate mold making kit somewhere I could look, because that's what I would like to do. Yeah, I won't know if I'm down any weight for a while, Kodiak, because I don't want to weigh in until the 1st. Especially not yesterday after I ate an entire chocolate donut. Apparently I was just a little reckless yesterday. Apparently that's the way it was. Reckless to the point of donut. Now, it was a CrossFit day, so I don't feel entirely like bad about the donut. It just means I wasn't operating at a deficit. I was probably equaling my calorie expenditure. But sometimes the donuts attack, and you can't fend them off. You try. But donuts are strong. Donuts are unexpectedly strong and fierce. Especially with the chocolate frosting. I wonder if that gives them a +3. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I just don't want to get discouraged, and I'm pretty sure I'll have lost like another pound in 2 weeks. So my pants are looser, so that's good. Always a good sign, right? But yeah, I'm happy not being on the scale and just feeling like I'm losing weight because of other signs. So, but yeah, you do it exactly. You got to do what you want, what works for you, right? So let's put this rich indigo is a beautiful color. If you've never bought it, you should get it. It's a very evening color. It's I love Twilight Indigo too. Twilight Indigo is a bit more muted, but I'm gonna try to go with the rich indigo and see if we can make it work. Right, Shadow Raven, exactly. If you feel tired a lot, you could try it. Twisted Oma. Yeah, I mean, some of it's oxygen, right? But yeah, so maybe oxygen, breathing exercises. You could try it. I mean, it is supposed to have like more effects on older adults, so. All right, I'm gonna try to get this. Oh, I just noticed 2 mold lines that are really sneaky mold lines. Let's see if we can get these off. This is gonna be interesting because I don't see a good angle. So the mold lines here, I wish they had made them come down here, but the mold lines actually come in here on the inside of her dress. Oh, a ring size adjuster, huh? A dragonless head. Alright, I'm gonna grab my knife. I may have to use files for these actually. Because I think the file's actually going to get in there a little bit better, even though it leaves a small texture. I think I'm going to have to chance it. I have mini files, like little tiny diamond files. And I think that might be the only answer, because I don't think I'm going to get a good angle on this with the knife. There's just a little tiny bit to take off. That's a little better. But yeah, stuff like this that's in sneaky places can be hard to see until the last minute. And then you're like, wait a minute. When did that show up? Let me get the knife. Alright, I can get this one with the edge of the knife. It's a very sneaky mold line. It's among the sneakiest of mold lines. But yeah, I'm up for anything that gives me more energy, so... I didn't know what was happening because I had never actually looked into that side effect. I was just like, oh, I want to be able to do CrossFit easier without getting so tired. But now it just makes me wonder, like, because, you know, has my energy just been dropping through the years, and like, is this normal? And I just have forgotten what normal feels like because I've been tired. Could be. It's kind of sad if I think about it that way. Yeah, I don't want bonbons. I want to sculpt things, though. I want chocolate miniatures. I want to do chocolate miniatures. I'm just trying to use my knife to get this really annoying. It's right on the inside of the dress. It goes up kind of in a curve. Really annoying mold line. Before I paint it. Oh, Turgeon, did you get over to check out Super Supportive on Royal Road? Did you start reading it yesterday? I love it so much. Like, now I'm even more into... I'm deeper into the story. I'm on chapter 46, and I have to force myself to put it down. It's such a good story. Like, I'm so sad that the writer was like, when she started it, she was just like, this is going to be really long, y'all. So just, you know, strap in and it's going to take a while. So I just know that she's probably going to end up with like 2,000 chapters, and she's only written like 105, and and I'm going to be like so sad when I catch up to the current. I might actually have to go to the Patreon and give them money just to read the next 10 chapters or whatever. Alrighty. There we go. Alright, I think I've gotten those lines out as much as I'm going to. You can kind of see the knife mark. So it was coming up from here. There's still a little tiny bit of it there, see it? But I think I can make do since it's in the shadow. So I'm not going to be really bringing in many highlights. It's really an awkward place because you've got to come at it from like the front underneath this elbow. There's no other really good spot. If it was even a little more recessed, I think I'd have to do green work, and it's too small for Julie's tool to work. I need a micro-sized version of Julie's excavator tool. Ah, okay, yeah. Probably next month. Okay. Well, no hurry. They're just going to keep writing episodes, or chapters, as it were. The longer you wait, the less disappointed you'll be when you have to stop and wait for more chapters twice a week. I'm just fascinated with that serial model. Someday I'll try it. Maybe my cozy fantasy is the one I want to put on there. Though I think a lot of the readers are guys, and I think the male protagonist tends to go over better on Royal Road, but I don't know, I'll do a little research. I have to do more research. So let's put some of this awesome rich indigo on here. Now this is a very translucent color, so if you want it to cover, keep it thick. I think I'm working about 6:1 right now. It's going to cover, though, pretty well over kind of a moderate, like, gray like this. It would not cover nearly so well over black. And you'd need a couple coats over white. Ah, interesting, Quindy. Yeah, mine is still fitting so far. Silicone plastique. Food grade silicone mold making putty. I'm going to make a note of that on my phone, green users, and hope I don't regret it. I probably don't need the means to make myself fantasy chocolates. I probably don't. But, you know, need is a very strong word. So get around the hair here, or the little tassels, I guess, holding her dress up. Ah! I blorfed. Get the water, come back in quickly. There we go. And I'm gonna get her shoulders. She's got straps and she's got a little shield. These are probably strings, so they should be painted the same way. The straps and the strings and the cloth, and then that shield on her shoulder is probably metal, like a clasp of some sort. So I think Julie totally feeding into the parts of us that don't need this but would love it. There are good food grade paints now, because they use them for airbrushing those truffles, the filled truffles where they have all the art on them. I don't know if they're expensive or what, but I know that there are good ones out there because people airbrush with them onto chocolate. So I got my GW order yesterday included some paint, and I had never looked at their layering paint. I was amused to discover that their layering paint is like the same consistency as my base coats, which is fine. I now own like every pink and magenta, and a couple of the purples that Games Workshop does. They do a surprising amount of pink. I was actually impressed. It's like, dang, GW. But I guess between Emperor's Children, Space Marines, and Pink Horrors, and I forget what else is pink. But there are pink things. I guess they needed enough shades of pink, huh? Just be very gentle when you come in to do these straps. They're thin and persnickety. Green users definitely the people who did not get snow last night. I got them because these were all colors that were recommended for my cow elves. I call them cow elves now because they like cows a lot. The critter and his rider are part of the cow elves army. And anyway, the cow elves particular faction that I wanted to use the paint's color scheme of had they had a lot of pinks listed for colors in the codex because it starts with a magenta and it's shaded with purple and brought up with pink, and so I ended up going, and plus their gems, their spirit gem things that they've got all over the place are pink. So I ended up getting quite a bit of pink, which I'm pleased to be able to mess around with now. I haven't run GW through the ringer for a very long time, not since their newest paint range came out, and I never really tried their layer paints. I only got their base paints and just like kind of assessed it, right? So I'm actually kind of excited to run some experiments and see what makes them tick. I'm interested to see if I don't think they actually thinned the layering paints very much. So I'm kind of interested to see if they just put less pigment in them to make them more transparent. Because there's two ways you could do it, right? You could do it either of those ways to get a paint more translucent. You can either thin it, or you can lower the percentage of pigment so you lower coverage, hypothetically then creating something that you can layer without thinning. Which is a great idea, but I'm not sure it works in practice. I'm kind of fond of these cow elves. For one thing, they're cow elves are such a silly concept that I'm pretty sure no one else at Golden Demon will be painting these. Oh. Oh no, Zachariah. Which printer did you get? Now you need to learn to use lychee. You need to learn to use the slicer. So I'm putting another coat on because this, as you can see, a little bit of the gray is coming through here. Ah, nice. 3 ultra, nice. Now everybody can be jealous of Zachariah and his 3D printer might. You're going to have way too much fun with that. All the things you can print, especially because you like doing scenes and stuff. Because there's so many good terrain bits out there for 3D printing, and they're cheap because they're usually like the little brazier that I used for Karindra was like $1.25, I think. And now I can print them out in any size, any way I want. And they're easy to kind of kit bash to make them look a little different. Hello, Spitfire, how's it going? If there are other painters in chat that stream on Twitch. Oh, yeah. We have a couple of folks usually, although I don't know if they're here today. Although Luca over on Miniatures Den, who was streaming a moment ago, also does a show on this channel, and Luca's really fun to watch. He does tend to be streaming at the same time I am, but he also tends to stream at a lot of other times that I'm not. So, oh my god, yeah, get your willpower polished up there. Yeah, and the free STLs are not to be underrated. Laura streams Saturday nights. Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of good mini painters out there to watch. I only do I do every weekday morning here at 11:30 a.m. USA Central Time. All right, I think I've got a good solid coat on there, so let's get this skirt done. I'm pretty happy with the indigo. It's not really clashing with the hair. It's coming off as blue-red. There's a lot of magenta in this. There's a lot of purple. When you put purple next to red, sometimes you get some problems, but because we've got a lot of blue in this, it's actually reading more like primary triad, which is great. And then, yeah, we are going to do that silver streak in her hair also, but we'll get to that. So let's continue blocking out this. I wanted to really make it kind of a twilight evening color on her gown. Oh, you're using them for a paint club. Yep, yep. Yep, most of them are Adepticon, I imagine. We just gave it a pass this year. David didn't have anything for Golden Demon. I didn't have anything for Golden Demon, and we would have had to book it way far in advance, more in advance than we had to get a dog sitter. So we passed this year. We're trying to get our Golden Demon stuff ready for next year instead. I realized last night, and it was a little depressing, that if I did win a Golden Demon next year, it will have been 23 years after I won my first one. 23 years. How did this happen? Oh, you're in Houston. Yeah, easy. Easy peasy. No, yeah, ReaperCon. Alright, I should put a little bit more paint on this. Yeah, my first Golden Demon that I won was in 2002, and my second. And then in 2003, I went to work for Reaper. And then I still would have been okay to enter. I had asked Ed specifically if I could still enter Golden Demon as a Reaper as a Reaper employee, if he would mind, and he wouldn't mind at all. But I just ran out of oomph for it because I was staff painting all the time. I got really burned out. I don't know, Richard. That's a good question. What's the longest between the comeback and the original? No idea. It's not Chris Borer because he's been winning them all these years. Well, I mean, everybody took kind of a gap, like a big gap between the old demons and when they canceled them and then brought them back. But I mean, I think the last demon in the USA was still like 2008 or 9, so many years after my original demons. So I have no idea. Yeah, I guess it depends on when you win. Technically, if Jennifer came out of nowhere and decided she wanted to enter and won, she would beat me because I think it's been longer. Maybe not, though. Maybe she was competing that year that and did win that year maybe she did in 2003. But yeah, you'd have to be like around my contemporary age to have dropped that many. And if you're in the UK and just dropped out and then came back, I don't know. Because you could have kept entering if you were there. Yeah, well, with GD, you've gotta. There's a very specific, like, if you're gonna do competitions, do a lot of other competitions before you do Golden Demon. Because Golden Demon wants you to paint in a particular way. And the only way to win without painting in that way is to be amazing. So good that they just can't, like, turn you down for a demon, even though it's not GW style. Like, Kaha. Her style is not Games Workshop style, but they still give her demons because she's just freaking amazing. Let's see. So it looks like there might be an inner skirt here. So hard to tell. This is this color. I know that Izzy likes to sculpt different layers of cloth, so I'm kind of feeling like there might be an interior skirt here. And I'm going to paint it as if there is, because that fold isn't part of this. I'm going to paint it as if there is, and we'll see. Sometimes it's easier just to paint all the cloth the same, but... Hey, Hyper, thanks for the resub. Oh, it's the triple. Hold on. Let me finish my my base here. I have to finish up my wet edge here so that I get a nice smooth coat. 1 second. Then I'll sing. My throat's a little sore. Hope I'm not coming down with something. hope it's just allergies because everything is changing and getting wetter. All right, and then this little bit down here. Alrighty, good, yes, good. All right, now we can sing. Had to get all the stuff. Yeah, Kuro's gonna miss it. No small Scottish cat. Oh yeah, because I mean it's always like the sculptor is usually interpreting the concept art, and the concept art doesn't always give them all the information, so they have to kind of do their best. So even the sculptor's like, "What the heck is this thing?" Triple sub-anniversary, triple sub-anniversary, triple sub-anniversary, happy triple sub-anniversary. There you are. Yep. Somebody have to tell her to go back and watch the VOD so Small Scottish Cat can do his thing 50 minutes in or 40 minutes in. How much customization? A ton. Yeah, you couldn't do a scratch sculpt. Actually, that's not true. In the open category, they still allow scratch sculpts because we had a friend who won there a couple years ago with a scratch sculpt of Miss Fiston. So you can still do scratch sculpt, but in the other categories other than open, no scratch sculpts. You can still heavily convert a model though. I don't remember how much has to be GW. Still a significant portion, I think. But yeah, the custom sculpts thing was just getting a little bit unfair, because people with good connections could go out and hire a sculptor who is really good to sculpt something for them and then paint it and win a demon with it. And that's just, I think, just not the spirit of the competition. So I was pretty happy when they were like, you can do that for open. Sure, no problem. But only for open. Don't allow collabs anymore. Right. You still had to have amazing painting, but yeah, it's not like, at that point it goes like, I want to see a competition embrace that, but like with everybody knowing, like you have to make a specific category for that, in my opinion. Back in the day, they had what we called the Victor Hardy rule, because he's the one who made it necessary to have the rule, which was you had to, if you used a sculpt, you had to sculpt it yourself. Like if you did a scratch sculpt, you had to sculpt it yourself. And I think that's fair. If you're that good, then all right, I'll lose to you. But the thing about demons is GW is always kind of in a bind there. They want to reward really, really top-notch paint jobs. And they want to be really persnickety about what they award. But they also want to make it like they don't want to totally cut out your average painter. Like they still want to have it be like I said, when I went and a stock paint job won, that made me like feel like I could actually enter again. Because I don't like to do a ton of conversion. I like to just paint a model that I really like already to a very high standard. Yep. That's true, Richard. I would, though. Right. Yeah, there was a lot of that, people saying that back in the day, too. Yeah, painting competition, not a sculpting competition. It got really old for me that you had to convert to win. I managed to win through very small conversions in both my models and good basing. Just neatening up a couple things that I'm spotting here, guys. And I'll put another coat down here. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Like, I can clearly see that this is different, and this looks like it's different, and that looks like it's an inner gown. So I guess I'm going to keep it. I'm not sure how it's going to look in the end, if it's going to be clear. I guess if I line, it will. Yeah, I mean, I like conversions. It's cool because it gives a new take. It lets you often put a more active pose on and stuff like that. It's a lot of work. And I mean, David did an amazing conversion on his techless model, but only got I think that model needed to go higher. In the old days, that model would have won a Slayer Sword, the one that David submitted, because he had resculpted it specifically to match the original concept art from the Army book. And he did an amazing job doing so. And that's just the kind of thing that was the kind of conversion they wanted to see, right? It's a fluff specific conversion. But yeah, if you do ever enter GD, like, go in knowing what it is. It's, you know, they want to see a Games Workshop model painted to Games Workshop, you know, standard, like, their style, right? I find that freeing, because for me then I have a very specific challenge and my brain loves a specific goal. Some people don't like it. They feel it constrains their creativity. I feel like it loosens mine up and gives it room to run, because I think limitations force me to actually be more inventive. But not everybody shares that mindset. So just know what you're getting into, and go in knowing that it's a top 3, so it's going to be nitpicky, and a lot of who wins is just going to be how the judge feels on that day and how your model hits them, and just go in with it knowing that. The best thing you can do in that case is to just, like, you do what I'm doing, is pick models that, you know, kind of like you fancy, and just paint them and enjoy them, and then enter and release all care. Just be happy that you brought awesome work. Share it with your fellow painters who are there to see it, and be happy for your friends who win. If you haven't done, this is my advice, if you have not done much reposing and resculpting yet, Hyper, I would first do, instead of doing a big diorama with a lot of different reposes, I would practice by doing a small diorama with just a couple of reposes. A very wise man who won a Slayer Sword or two once told me the problem with units and dioramas is that you must paint and sculpt, if you're sculpting, every model to the same standard, the same high standard. You can't, you've got to go all out on everything. And that can be a very overwhelming thing. And when you get tired, you know, it can be to the detriment, right? Because there's a lot if you pick a big unit or a big diorama. So if I were you, I would come up with a good concept with 2 models that you can repose and do cool stuff on. Do the best job you possibly can, because you only have 2 models to do it on, so you don't run out of time. And then see how it does. See how you do. Yeah, don't want to have to sculpt, yep. Well, and the vision's great. Like I said, it's just my advice. You can throw it out. You can say, no, Anne, I'm a visionary and I'm going to, you know, forge new paths. But if you come to me at that con with a critique and I say, yeah, these 2 models or these 3 models are great, but the other models here kind of phoned in. What happened? Are you ready for that critique? If you really want, if your point is just to execute the vision, just execute the vision. If it doesn't bother you, like if you can just get the vision, you'll be happy, then do it. Do it. Me, I've got that weird hang up where I like to pick the project that's going to let me do my best work. But not everybody thinks that way. Some people, like you say, would just want to do the vision. They want people to see the vision and get it. And that makes them happier than anything. And that's totally valid. That's cool. Yeah, you can do what you want. And I won't begrudge you there. But again, if you then come out to me and ask me for a critique and say, why did I only get X? Why didn't I get Y? I'm going to tell you. That's the thing, because people do this and they're like, I'll just wow everybody with this thing. But then people nitpick the thing and then it makes them sad. So sometimes, like, Sometimes doing a vision, like, and definitely enter it, like, and it depends too. If you're not competitive at all, you just enter it because you want to share it with people, that's fantastic. So it all depends on your brain and whether you can handle it if people don't get your vision or critique your vision. I just know how people tend to rush last minute on entries because I used to be one of them. So I will always advise, especially if you have not done anything at the scale you are thinking previously, I will always advise to take it easy. But then again, the other piece of advice is, you know what? Go whole hog, do the vision, but if it is not ready by ReaperCon, don't just rush and phone in the last part. Keep it till the next year and enter then. Oh, does he have a... Ah, Heisler's topic for ReaperCon diorama entries on the forum. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're very competitive, you want to set yourself up for success. But again, then in that case, do my last thing. Just, work on it really hard. If it's not done by ReaperCon, enter it the following year. I mean, Bryce, who's on here, B. Kokenauer, who's on the stream regularly in the chat, Bryce has been working on a piece for Golden Demon for years, right? Like years. Years. Big diorama. Scratch sculpt, crazy, awesome, amazing scene. With a ton of conversion and kit building. And every year it hasn't been done. Every year it hasn't been done. This year, the sculpting was done earlier. But David and I are like, if you can't do a great paint job on it, do not enter this year. Enter next year. So it's great to have amazing visions and try to bring them to life. That's what some of the most memorable pieces are made of in our hobby. But sometimes you also have to put your impatience on hold then to give yourself the best chance of actually executing your vision to the fullest of its potential. Oh, okay, cool. Cool, Hyper Bunny. All right, well then just do that. If you can be happy with that, then do it. It's all your personal goals. I have this brain that's always best seeking. I always want to put my best foot forward. I always want to put my best product out there. If I'm going to show something to somebody, I want it to be the best it can be before I show it to them. But that's just me, and not everybody's got my brain, thank God. And I also have a little bit, I'm not super competitive, but I do, it is a part of my personality. I fight with it a lot. But that means, and there's too many times in my life when I have actually last minuted an entry to a competition and been sad about it because I didn't reach what I wanted it, what I would have wanted it to be. But if medaling, if your goal is to pull it off, not to care what medal you win, then you're fine. Huh. I haven't played Magic for years. Yeah, procrastinators of the world, unite. Once I realized that procrastination was just my brain, it's several things for me. It's like the pressure that pops up because I know I should work on something, but it's a pressure thing. So then I get this averse reaction working on it because I hate pressure. Pressure is the last thing I want if I'm going to be productive. Lack of pressure is. So when pressure pops up, I put off the task, even if I care about the task, even if I want to work on the task. So I had to be very careful to not put too much pressure on myself if I want to accomplish things. All right. Is this too strong of a color? Completely new to Magic, Spitfire? I used to play years ago, and then I got back in briefly. I've made a lot of money selling the cards over the years. Not a lot, like some people who are in an alpha and beta, but a decent amount. A couple thousand, I think. Ah, okay. Yeah, for Theme Award. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I'm still not sure that this is the right call, guys. It's a little bit too much. Because there's a lot of dress, and it's very bright. And it's all down low, right? I might have to mix a little bit of Night Sky to go into this. Like, I feel like I don't want, like, totally muted out. This is Night Sky. Let's do a comparison. Yeah, I enjoy Magic. I just don't like the whole keeping up with every expansion thing. Like, I'm not willing to dump that much money into it. I also like to play theme decks that are fun rather than competitive decks. Alright, so if we compare these two colors, you can see the big difference between them. I feel like I want something halfway between this. No, I don't really want to do that, Pendrake. It's really a one-piece gown if you look at it. She's got a belt, but you can clearly see there's like no seams or anything. I don't really want to have it. I really wanted a uniting color on the model. I wanted that to be the principal color. I just feel like it's too intense. Yes, procrastinating is an award somehow. Yep. Ah, the ability to perform under pressure. Yep. Oh yeah, I've been the same way, Spitfire, but it did stress me out. So if it doesn't stress you out, then yeah, it can be something to do. But it can also, I don't know, at some point I had to ask myself, is this really how I want to do this, or would I rather take my time and enjoy it? Like would I enjoy it more if I took my time, I guess would be the right way to phrase that. So but yeah, I mean, you could be wired very differently from me. I am somebody who my procrastination, it was definitely a coping mechanism and not an advantage. When I settled back and took my time with things and wasn't rushing, yes, I'm able to complete something and I'm able to complete it well, but I'm able to complete it better if I have time. But I am not everybody, and some people really thrive on that last minute pressure and they do amazing things with it. I can do amazing things with it, but I don't enjoy it. It doesn't do well. It doesn't do good things for my health. All right, so that's a difference. It's much more purple. Yep. Yeah, so you're making a cool theme deck. Yeah, that's what I used to like to do. Yeah, and usually they don't perform nearly as well. But they're fun. So find other people that play for fun like that like cool theme decks, and you'll have a great time. Alright, so can I do a mixture of these and get kind of the best of both worlds is kind of my remaining question. Yep. That's very much my brain too. If you ever took the Clifton Strengths Assessment, I bet you'd have high strategic. Strategics love to do that. They're always like, well, I don't have to do that yet, and so it's more optimal for me to do this other thing that I would love to do. And then it's the last minute, and the brain is like, oh, we need to do this now, so we're going to do it as fast as we can possibly do it. Yes! Unfortunately, other parts of my personality aren't so in line with that. But yeah, I spent all of my young formative years doing everything in my life the way you just described. Yep. It's only when I started getting older that I started to like go, the stress is getting the adrenaline rush is getting old. Yeah, see, I get it. I was there. Like, I'm number one strategic when I took the Clifton Strengths Assessment. But I also have things in my brain that like to like relax and take their time, and so I have a lot of like inner war going on, I guess. So I've kind of like I do both now. I give my strategic lots of fun strategizing every day to be optimal. And often I do give myself like a chunk of time to like just do something I want before I have to do the thing I must do. But yeah, I wouldn't have actually I would say that tendency, that's why I failed at freelancing the first time. Was that I was processing things like you were just saying, like I was still working on that. But when you are freelancing and when you are when it's all up to you, then that strategy failed to work for me. Because I had to work. Nobody else was making me work. Nobody else was telling me I had to do X every day. And so it was easy to get in over my head and not be as productive as I needed to be. And I also didn't have the productivity tools I've got now. Yeah, so I essentially came out of that having that first time I'd failed, when I'd been using all of my tools but failed. And that made me reassess the way I did things and question it. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, it does. You know exactly. Yep, yep. Yeah. So that's one, and actually I have discipline is another one of my Clifton Strengths thingies. But yeah, so now I'm much more regimented about it. I still let my strategic sense like play all the time, because it really is it's my primary thing. It's my superpower, and it's your superpower too, and you're using it great. And if you never go freelance, or if you never get over your head, at least because that's the thing, right? Is I just had a kind of a poison cocktail of mental traits that let me do that, for certain things, but then when I tried to do it for myself, it just kind of backfired. So I'm going to do a 50-50 mix here and see if I can get something in between. And I'm going to pop that, actually. I think I need a little more blue. I want a more intense, yeah, that's a little better. I want a more intense version of Twilight. And then I want to put it on this dress and see if I like it. Just mute it out just a little. But the other problem that we're running into here, the reason this indigo looks so very bright, is that it's taking up a lot of room. So when you have a color that takes up a lot of room on a model, it will look brighter. This is how you can like have a super pale yellow that looked great at the paint shop, but when you put it on your wall, suddenly it looks like it's bright, bright yellow. It's because there's a lot of it, and our eye just detects that color more effectively the bigger of an area it takes up. So I've muted it out. You can see that's a muted compared to the brighter. Oh, brocade, yep. Well, okay. It's one of the hardest things to do with freehand. It is, I think I've got do I have an example? I guess the one I did was on a bust, so it would be on sacrifice. 1 second while I get it. So brocade can be hard to carry off. It's just going to look like standard freehand most of the time on anything other than a bust. This is my crystal brush entry, the 1 year I went to crystal brush. Here is the brocade. I chose to do panels of it because I liked it better and I wanted to do the cloth texture on her. I based this on Moorish architecture. If you're on my Patreon, some of the earliest videos I did show how I mapped some of this in. Everything, yes, those are tiny little brush strokes to show the actual like stitches, to suggest that you're seeing stitches, which is how you get that. This is me at my top level as far as painting goes. I have to put a finger over here because this is not safe for work, but so I've got the brocade up there. I have some texture there. I have the Damascus on the blade. See it? But yeah, so on a bust you can do this. You can get away with it. When you go down to the next level down, you get more like standard freehand. This is Halfling Assassin. Got kind of panels on the side of her leggings there. She was also a competition piece. I just did her mostly because I wanted to, but she ended up winning the best in show at our local con. So here, I went kind of suggesting the gold cord on the back of the cape. But it's too small of a scale for me to do stitches here. So when you go down then to this, then you're just doing the design, pretty much. You're not being able to do any of the texture that says brocade. So you would just be doing very, very small designs. Oh yeah, you still own them. Sure you do. I sold my second one, Spitfire, for a decent chunk of money. I had offered $1,000 for my first one, and that was in 2002. I didn't take it. I still have my GD model. It's much less than I could do nowadays. Like when I put that model next to Sacrifice, it's not even close to as good. But I guess I could. I don't know. Nisus is like David didn't think it was even good enough to put in the front case. I was like, I'm gonna say that to all your old competition entries, except he does the same to his old entries. Let me see if I can find mine. Sure where he is. I thought I knew which case he was in, but I can't find him there, so I'm not going to waste a lot of time looking. Yeah, the mud effect was fun. I did it on her feet too. And on her knees. I wanted to suggest she'd just been in the dungeon way too long. She has mud on her elbows. Yeah, and the bottom of the cape. It's very easy to do. It's kind of effect. Then I've got, of course, more freehand on the inside. But yeah, so brocade, when you talk about brocade, is really just freehand. It's just freehand done in the style of a brocade. Jennifer Haley did it really well on 28mm for some of her stuff. You know, only the best American painter ever, probably. Just toss that out there. But yeah, so I guess my point is, like, if this was 28mm, I would have been able to do some stripes, I would have been able to do some swirls, but I wouldn't have been able to get the real brocade look. No, seriously. I just like working big. It's why I have painting big as my moniker. That's why, hi Kiki, you're a good girl. Kiki's like, you've been moving around, are we done? But yeah, I prefer to paint bigger models. That's why I do them for competition. Hi, you want to come over, Keeks? You want to come over get pettins? You can come and get pettins. She came up on the bed this morning and sat in my lap. It was really funny. I am not, Carly. It's just that, essentially, seriously, because I paint 28mm so, like, every day, every week, I'm painting 28mm. That's why I prefer to paint other scales for when I'm doing my own work, because I honestly do enjoy doing, I think I can do so much more on bigger models. Hi, Keeks. Hi, Kiki. She's like, I want pettins. I want pettins, Mama. buttons. Yeah, but it's still work, okay? It's work for another 20 minutes. You gonna come up? Okay, we get a Kiki sighting. Good girl. Good girl. Yay, it's my Keeks. It's my Keeks. There's my good girl. Hi, baby. Yes, my good girl. It's going to be rainy tonight. Yes, it is. And then it's going to be Muddy Paws tomorrow. Miss Monkey Paws will make a return. Yes, Miss Monkey Paws. That's you. Yes, I know. Good girl. Yeah, good girl. Yeah, Marika Sea Queen. Yeah, it's not easy. Yeah, I mean, you can do it, but you just got to practice really small freehand. And you won't get the stitched effect. You're just going to get, like... I'm trying to, like some... Usually I'll do it in black and gold, because it's, like, that's kind of a more common type of brocade combo, or black and dark purple. I find that gets that look more, and I'll do it more in panels. Hi, Lord Gasumba. Thank you for the raid. We're just, like, actually showing off a bunch of really pretty stuff. You just missed it, so I guess I'll bring it back out. We're talking about doing brocade in freehand, and how it's much easier to do an actual brocade effect at, like, the bust scale. Like this guy. And when you try to go smaller with it, then it turns into pretty much just freehand. You start getting, this is a more of a 54 millimeter. It's actually a 75 millimeter, but it's meant to be a halfling. But yeah, when I start getting this small, I start not feeling like at this scale I can do all the stitch work that I did on that. And then when you go down to a 28 millimeter model, like the one we're working on today, then you're just doing freehand at the point. It's hard to... You can't really make it look tapestry-like at that point, I would argue. Be very difficult. There might be somebody who could do it. I mean, we have some painters in the hobby who are known for tiny freehand, and those people could probably pull it off, but I would struggle to. And to a standard that I felt good about. So you're just pretty much kind of trying to tweak the color on this dress, guys, because I put on the rich indigo, and it just seemed like it was way too oversaturated. I'm going to use the Twilight Indigo. I'm going to mix my rich indigo into it, put a drop of rich indigo into my Twilight Indigo, and I'm going to see what I can get. I just feel like it's really overwhelming right now. And maybe it'll be fine once I shade and highlight it, but I'm still going to tone it down just a little bit. So yes, hi Raiders, I'm Anne. I paint for Reaper Miniatures. I have worked for Reaper for over 20 years. I started out as staff painter, then I made their paint line, Reaper Master Series. And then during the pandemic, I moved out west, and now I stream for them. And I am here to answer questions on Reaper Paint, or any level of painting that you want to talk about. Although I myself am at the award competition level, I like talking about the basics. Okay, so I essentially put one drop of rich indigo into the Twilight Indigo just to see if I like that better. Yes, and there's all the places you can find me. I have a Patreon, I do YouTube if you are interested in miniature painting. I do a Fundamentals of Miniature Painting series on YouTube that's about 17 videos long, where I tried to go over pretty much all of the basic things to know and do when you start in the hobby. Other than that, I'm going to paint this color over this part of the dress again and see if I like it better. It's going to tone it down even more. And it's a good time to do this because I haven't done anything other than the base coat, so I'm not locked in to any choice yet. I really want to get this right because I don't want to be hating this model. One thing that I might do, if I can't get this to resolve itself, then I'm going to, is I will take black indigo and do a fade as the dress goes down. Oh, have a good lunch, Shadow Raven. Yummy, Turgeon. Yes, we're still here. So taking that down, and we can see that you can see the difference now, especially at this angle, with how bright the blue is here and how more faded out the Twilight Indigo is. See it? Really can see it from this angle. Almost meeting time. Thanks, Crowley. You bet. Scritches to your beasts too, especially your Korg. So yeah, I think I like that maybe a little bit more. It's just a little bit of a difference, but you can see it. I'll do that, and if I still feel it's too vibrant, then I will, I'll do that fade into the black indigo. So I guess not doing the dress in two different colors, Pendrake, if you're still here, but kind of doing like the fabric has been dyed in a layers, which was done in olden times, so. Yeah, so your suggestion, like, I was thinking like painting a different panel of some sort, but I think might do a fade instead. So it was a good suggestion. I wasn't just thinking about it correctly. Or if not correctly, I just wasn't thinking about it in a way that I thought I could make work that made sense to me. But putting a fade at the bottom of the dress does make sense to me, so we'll see. Maybe muting it out like this will help. Icy Violet will not tone it down. Icy Violet is pretty punchy. It's actually quite saturated. It doesn't have any gray in it at all. It's I don't think, maybe a tiny bit, but I think it's actually the opposite of what I want. I mean, I'm going to be using it for highlights to build highlights, but I don't think that's going to actually tone it down. Like, if you put Icy Violet up as a wall color, it would look really bright to you. I promise you. Like, you'd be like, when did I ever think this was a good idea? And remember, part of the problem here is that so much of the model is this color. So I like that softer effect a little bit more. Sadly, not being paint line designer means that I can no longer act upon suggestions like that. The one I still regret not doing was Brainwash. Alright, that's a little softer. Yeah, I like that a little better, because you can still see the bright blue up top. And then the softer color down here. I think I like the softer color. So we'll get this softer indigo put up here. So this was 4 drops of Night Sky with 1 drop of Rich Indigo in it. If I had used this color for a smaller part of the model, I could have gotten away with it. The Rich Indigo. I just think that it's just a little bit too over the top, a little bit too saturated for the rest of the model. Alrighty. So let's just test this out. Well, you would probably use oxide or oxidized brown oxides. You would be good, well used, well served to use the Reaper one because it has that reddish tone to it. These are all rust colors, and because they're oxidized, they're iron oxide. They actually are. They're organically synthesized in a lab, but it's pretty much what you're doing. So it's like it's the perfect color essentially. So if you don't want to do orange, I would do oxide brown with some oxide red. Rust does build up, but if you're just doing like rusty streaks, then oxide brown. Maybe use a darker brown too for residue. So like a little bit of brown liner mixed in. That'll give you that look. Alrighty. Yeah, let's grab some icy violet and see what it looks like when we highlight part of this with it. I can do a quick mix before. I don't think I've got do I have a color card for her yet? No, I don't have a color card yet for Sophie. I think I have one sitting right here I can use, yeah. So I'll have to make a note of my indigo color. I'll do that right now, do a swatch. If you need higher fiber Trashorama, you should not be eating puzzle pieces for it, in my opinion. Cardboard is not as high fiber as you think. 4-1 Night Sky. Rich Indigo. I do love Night Sky Indigo. I think it is a beautiful color. So let's take some of this then, and we'll take our original color and we'll transfer some of it and put some icy violet into it. I'll do 2 big brushfuls of it. That just goes with my comment that they're not a very effective source of fiber, if that's true. Alright, so a little bit of icy violet. Punches it up a little bit. We'll do a quick highlight just to see if we like it. Playing the part of Luca today will be Trashorama. As long as he doesn't have a foot fetish, you're okay, Quindy. Probably only if it's cardboard feet. Bye, Turgeon. Yes, have a good weekend. I'll be on tomorrow. I will stream tomorrow. Despite wanting to watch nothing but Overwatch, I will come on and do my work. Alright, let's just put a little bit of a highlight on parts of this. A little bit of a light. I'm going to pop this out so we can actually see it. I might still fade out this bottom part, but I'll put the highlight on it anyway. It's coming off as a very subtle highlight because I was trying to make it blended. So you can see a little bit of it. And when you want to do blending, it is a subtle process. You start out with something that you really can just see a little bit, and then you build it up. can kind of see those colors. Bethorn, I used a much more saturated red for her hair this time. I went with Mahogany Brown, which is it's built in a red base. So I didn't use Auburn Shadow because the Mahogany Brown is more dark and more red. Mahogany Brown is what I actually used for Sophie for all the years I painted her. Hanzo main. Yeah. I love a good Hanzo meta. I cannot lie. But yeah, we'll take up her hair with Freeze. It depends. You can use almost anything for a shadow for white, Roger. So, like, I like using a blue-gray. That's what I used on, where is he? Oh no. Oh, did I put him up here because I'm keeping him because Ron doesn't get him? Yeah, I did. It depends if you want a warmer cold tone. I went cold with him. Angry Link. You can see the gray-blue in there. Yeah, I want to have a white streak in her hair, I think, Pendrake. I want to do it that way. But yeah, so this guy is totally like you can see the gray-blue. I didn't go cream because it would have brought it really close to his clothing. But you could do a cream color as well. The big thing, Roger, is you have to go darker than you think. Because you need enough contrast for the shadows to show up. So if you only use something like a creamy ivory, it's not dark enough. Yeah, I still love to watch Overwatch. I love me a good Hanzo meta, but the meta is still really bouncing around for the current tournament they're running, which I like. I like people playing a lot of different stuff. No, Woofer. I'm almost ready. So I think this highlight, I think that keeping on going up with the Icy Violet will work just fine. It's definitely lightening it. It is punching it. You see, though, it is making it more saturated almost. It is punching it up again. So yeah, we'll see. I think we're going to be fighting. I think we're going to probably have to glaze with dark down here. But that's all right. Yes, I can believe that. That guy that does not immediately die. You get Storm Arrows, though, still, and they're pretty broken. She did Rod Bamboozled, yes. We did have a pretty good Hanzo meta at the end of the Overwatch League? But if it is, I'm doing it, Richard. It is possible to Overwatch, and that's what I probably have to do to tire my brain out tonight, actually. There's like 6 or 8 games today, like between Europe and the USA, and they're running the tournaments consecutively. I'm just going to start watching Europe when I start painting this afternoon, and it's going to go, and then David and I are going to watch an American game for supper, and then I'm going to continue watching. So, yeah, it's pretty sad. I definitely Overwatch when it comes down to it. But that's because I have to go for a long time without it in between seasons. Ah, well. See, I'm even more detestable than the Hanzo main, Spitfire, because I am a Mercy main. Although I do play, my Lucio and my Bap. My Lucio is serviceable, it's not amazing. Wall riding is still like a challenge at times, but my Bap is pretty good. Like, getting better. So, and I really liked Iliari, but then they nerfed her into the ground. I do battle Mercy on occasion, like when David and I are playing together. And there's a Genji, and the Genji dies, and it's like me with the kill credit. I'm just like, you didn't see that. Yeah, no problem, Val. I'll probably bring it up with more orangey tones, more traditional redhead tones. I haven't decided yet. Usually I use kind of a burnt orange to bring it up out of the auburny color. But I really like Sophie to have the auburn here. I liked it, and I like it more red. It's more gothy. I think of her sitting in like a gothic library in a castle somewhere in this gown. That's what I'm kind of thinking. It's my mood. You like tanks in general overall? Yeah, tanks are good now. Like since there's only one of you now, and so everybody got like kind of a nice buff across the board. Arissa's really kick butt right now. You choke more against Mercy than anyone else. Oh no. Oh no. Sorry. Not sorry. Oh yeah. Yeah, I felt like the Gothic Library was a perfect mood. That's why I want to go with kind of this like very, very evening mood with the gown and everything, Quindy. So sadly I'm not capable of building a Gothic Library for you to put her in, but you know. That is just awful. Yeah. All right. Well, that said, everybody, I think that we've done enough today. We didn't really get a lot done, but we got a lot. Sometimes it's just like this. Sometimes you put on a color that you think you're rock solid on, and then you're like, oh, that's too much. You know, in my case, that was too much. Because I don't want to have like the bright blue violet pulling the eye away from this. Now I feel like it's good. Now I feel like my attention goes here and not to here, but I had to tamp it down a bit. There were a couple of different tactics I could have used for that. I also could have glazed with a complementary color, so like candlelight, orange yellow would have worked, or yellow orange would have worked to take this dress down a notch. But it would have given us a slightly different effect. So I just decided to do that. The Bastion. When they were doing the two of the same hero thing this past weekend, David was in a game with two Bastions. Luckily they were on his team. Once I establish your midtone, how big of a jump should I be looking for to make highlights and shadows? I actually talked about that in one of my Patreon things, but get yourself a color wheel if you don't have one, because I'm going to say use your grayscale. So if your midtone is at a 6 and you are layering, you're thinning for layering, I try to always value up to here. If you want to go up with more layers but thicker paint, you could do one at a time. And the way to deal with the value thing is to put it over the color that you're using and kind of get your edge over that. So let's say that indigo. So you can see that it's too light. So let's move. So that indigo is there. So value 4 on this indigo right here. It's when that edge kind of disappears. If this side I can still see the light against it, this side I can see that it's darker, although it's probably somewhere between a 3 and 4. So then when I do my highlight here, which fell out of solution. Why did you fall out of solution, you silly thing? When I do the highlight here, that means I should go to a 5, 6. So if I go, it's about a 5. So a 3, 4 to a 5. And I'm not seeing a lot of difference. I'm seeing just a little difference, so that's about right. I'm also not thinning it as much as I might. Does that make sense? 5 no, please. No, Nightmare Fuel. Nightmare Fuel. 5 overloads. 5 molten cores. The world is lava. No. Just, I'm gonna nope right out of that. Yes, have a good one, Twisted Oma. Yeah, and I'll be on tomorrow. We'll be working probably still, because I'm so close. So close to being finished on Miss Barbarian. We just need to do leather and the back of her hair. And I think then her, and a little bit, I missed a bit of shoulder pad back here. And then the model is done and we work on basing. I liked both. I mean, I've been watching competitive Overwatch because I love it, watching competitive Overwatch since Apex Season 2. So that was way, way Overwatch 1. That's the olden days. And I've been playing since the day the game launched. But yeah, and tomorrow I stream at 3:30 p.m. USA Central Time on my own channel, which is twitch.tv/paintingbig, and we've been working on this girl. Yeah, but I do really like Overwatch 2. I like the feel of it. I like the changes that they've made. I feel like it's always been a fun game for me, but I actually like it better with 5 players, I think. Yes, yes, 3:30 USA Central Time is when I'm gonna be here on the working on the Elf Barbarian. But yeah, I've been watching competitive Overwatch for a long time because the game came out when I was really in a bad place, and it helped me kind of deal with all the surgery stuff I was going through. So I'll always have love for Overwatch, always. That's why. It has a soft spot in my heart from here till as long as it lasts. All right, no Reaperland this afternoon. John's at Adepticon, unless he decides to sell stream. That would be cool if he did. All right, thank you so much, Quindy, for helping us all today. Thank you so much for dealing with my prattling, and for watching us adjust the dress. We just spent an entire afternoon being paint seamstresses. You realize this? We spent the entire stream adjusting a dress. You're a League addict. Ah, Valthorn, yay! Overwatch League forever. I'm watching the new OWCS. I am enjoying it. I'm glad the desk is back for the tournament. But anyway, and go London Spitfire, aka Space Station Gaming. Okay. All right, yeah, Brigade and Steamstressing, right? Yeah, we were totally dress adjusters. All right, I love you all. I'm going to run away now before I sit there and geek out about Overwatch with Valthorn. We can talk more. We can talk more in a future stream, Valthorn. Come back. Oh, League of Legends. David's playing it. He's trying to get me into it. We can talk.